Hello students, I'm Himani Sharma, your UGC NET Paper 1 educator. In this new YouTube video, in the last lab, the 30-day program, I have brought for you certain more important concepts which are related to ICT, that is Information and Communication Unit, correct? So if you would have watched the previous videos of mine, you would be seeing that in the previous videos, I have dealt with PYQs which were related, right, with the concepts. So we used the PYQs, and this will be the strategy of the entire last lab program where the PYQs will be used for you all to make you prepare for your last minute preparation and last minute revision for UGC NET. So coming back to the point that I am dealing with, like I have dealt with in certain videos, we have talked about the research aptitude. In these videos, in these lectures, now I'm bringing forward the questions which are related to ICT. And the third part that we'll be doing with, that the third unit that I'll be dealing with, that is higher education. So if you have any questions which are related to higher education, research or ICT, you can comment down below and let me know as well if you still have any doubts, right? Even from the video sessions, or if in general you have any doubts regarding the questions which have been asked in the UGC NET examination. So without wasting any further time, let's just first look at the very first question that I have for you in this new video. Which of the following are game-based learning platforms? Correct? The answer to this question is option B. First of all, as I read the question, students, you can pause your screens and try to look at it with a focused sense so that you can read the question and, make out the meaning out of it. Correct? So the answer to this question, as I told you, are these three options. So moving forward, what do we mean firstly by game-based platforms or game-based learning? Anything which is interactive in nature. For instance, if you play a game, you are totally immersed, totally being, participating in that game actively. Same is the case with the game-based learning platforms, that the students tend to be interactive in nature. They tend to actively participate when it comes to game-based learning platforms. They are designed to increase learner engagement. Now, if we talk about the learner engagement, you must have heard about the teacher-centric method and the learner-centric method. If we talk about the game-based learning platforms, you can easily tell that it is a learner-centric method because of the fact that the learner is actively participating and engaging in the content which is provided, right, and trying to answer or maybe visualize, like, recalling certain things through those visualizations that are provided there, correct? By incorporating gaming elements into a training strategy. For example, EdApp and Kahoot, right? So first of all, we'll talk about the Kahoot platform. Kahoot allows educators to engage their students with dynamic and interactive game-based learning. So if you talk about the game-based learning platform, they are not static as we have the quizzes, correct? The quizzes, even if you talk about, they are interactive in nature, and the students tend to answer those questions, right, because they think that this competitive surge is in them, correct? Improving not only content knowledge retention but also strategic thinking and hand-eye coordination. So they know how and when to answer that very question which is asked. So these have certain kinds of, images, might have certain kind of GIFs, etc., which will be there for the students' active participation. Coming to the Socrative, that is a next, game-based learning platform, innovative new site in which educators can differentiate instruction through a unique game-based learning system. Reporting tools help teachers track students' progress. So basically, students' progress can also be seen by the educator through the Socrative, that is this new website or a platform which is there for the e-learning and game-based e-learning, I must say, correct? Then we have quizzes. Quizzes provide, right, Quizlet or quizzes, they are a super simple tool to help students study, learn and practice new material. So basically, as the name suggests, these are the platforms. This is a platform which is used for the quizzes part, and the quizzes are interactive in nature. When you click on a particular link, like click on a particular question, the answer starts a timer, the question starts a timer there. right? So you are being interactive as to how you are supposed to think critically in the time bound manner, right, which makes you aware that if there is a time limit which is set upon you, how are you going to approach the question and how are you going to answer it, correct? Teachers can create flashcards, right, which are for the revision purposes, right? Games and much more from their features. Correct? Hence, A, B and C is the correct answer. If we talk about EPG Pathshala and Edmodo, EPG Pathshala initiative of the MHRD, or what do we know as in today's time after the new education or the National Education Policy 2020, MHRD has been changed. The name has been changed to what? MOE. Now that's a question for you. Comment down below and let me know what is the full form of this department. MOE. We in the previous videos have multiple times, if we were talking about the schemes which were related to ICT research, etc., we have talked about this thing. So you all should be knowing this, students, right? Under its NME ICT, that is National Mission on Education through the ICT. So basically, this is an initiative for the teaching learning part, correct? So this is not game based. It is not game based. Same is the case with Edmodo. It is also not game based but a global education platform that help connect all learners with the people and resources which are needed to reach their potential. So if you are from a social sciences background, the learners that you will be interacting with, they will be from the social science background, so that you all can interact with one another. So basically, it is a global education network. You can connect with people entirely from all over the world from a particular thing, right? For a particular subject or anything, correct? For a particular subject and anything which requires learning. So it also does not provide any kind of interactive session when it comes to the game-based learning system. So who among the following is the national coordinator for engineering courses to be launched on the SWAYAM platform? So this is a really important thing because they have been asking like which, is the national coordinator which deals with the agricultural front, which is the one which deals with the engineering courses which are on the SWAYAM platform. So you all should be knowing the answer to this question. The answer to this question is, if we talk about the engineering courses, the answer is option C, that is NPTEL. So first of all, we'll talk about SWAYAM a little bit, right? The full form of SWAYAM is Study Webs of Active Learning for Young Aspiring Minds, and it was a scheme which was launched in the year 2017 by MHRD, that is MOE, and to provide one integrated platform and portal for all online courses. So the courses are provided by SWAYAM, correct? If we talk about the three cardinal principles which are related to the SWAYAM platform, they are access, equity and quality, right? So if we talk about the NEP 2020, the basic motto of NEP 2020 was quality education, correct? That's why access, equity, that everyone should be able to access the resources. The resources which are there for the educational front should be divided in an equitable manner, that is in a fair share manner, and the quality should not be compromised. That means even if a small class, right, in a smaller class a student is learning certain thing, the quality should retain for each and every school. This effort aims to take best teaching learning resources to all, including the most disadvantaged, correct? So if we talk about it tries to remove the digital divide which is there for the ones who have the resources which are there and for the ones who do not have the resources which they are not provided with, correct? If we talk about the NCERT, first of all, the current SWAYAM platform is developed by the Ministry of Education and NPTEL, IIT Madras with the help of Google Inclusive. So this is an important factor which you all should note down if you are making any notes while watching these videos. So first of all, if we talk about the NPTEL, all the engineering courses which are under the SWAYAM platform, they are designed by the NPTEL. Correct? So this is a question for you all, that tell me in the comment section below, because they have been asking this question several times, that what is the full form of NPTEL? So right now we have two questions. Number one is MOE. The number two is NPTEL. Correct? SWAYAM program's characteristics are as follows. It includes all courses in higher education and the courses in specific skill areas. So, skill-based education is also provided through the SWAYAM platform. The goal is to guarantee that every student in the country has the access to the most outstanding higher education possible at a reasonable price, because of the fact that a student who gets enrolled in the SWAYAM courses as well, if they need a certificate, they need, right, some kind of, a little fee to pay. But even if we talk about the educational front, the courses are available for free to all. MOOCs are also something which are available on the SWAYAM platform by academics from hundreds of institutions across the nation through SWAYAM. Correct? Therefore, the correct answer is NPTEL, which mainly deals with the engineering part. So, if you all would be knowing the full form of NPTEL, you all will be able to answer this very question, that yes, because it has a particular word in the abbreviation, that's how we can answer the question which is related to the engineering part. Correct? The next question is a statement based question. Statement 1 says, skill-based education is focused on the idea that it may be learned better if it is practiced in real life. And whereas the statement 2 says, non-conventional higher education is totally based on the teaching learning activities that are offered on campus with fixed time classes. So, we are supposed to answer this question and see these options which are provided here. So, you can pause your screens. The answer to this question is option C, which says statement 1 is true, whereas statement 2 is false. Why is that? Let's just see. First of all, we read the statement 1, which told us that skill-based education is something which should be practiced in real life as well, right? Skill-based education is focused on providing students with hands-on practical experience in a particular field or industry. So, if you talk about any program which is related to enhance your skill, if we talk about you being a chef, first of all, you all should have the skills of, you should know how to chop, how to cut vegetables, what are the different ingredients which are there. Correct? So, hands-on practical experience should be given, as to you should know that how to make aloo puri, etc. different dishes which are provided, right? So, skill-based education, hands-on means practical experience should be there in order to develop the skills and knowledge necessary to succeed in that field. So, if I generally ask you that how do you know how to make, atta or etc., how to, knead atta. So, how will you do that if you haven't even practiced it? Correct? So, the practice is also required for the person who is pursuing skill-based education. Correct? This approach emphasizes the importance of real-world experience and application, and is often seen as a more effective way to learn rather than the traditional classroom teaching. Because in a traditional classroom teaching, if I generally come here and tell you that this is how you are supposed to make aloo puri, etc., if you would not have made it, how will you know that this is the ingredient that I need to put first and this is the one? This is how I will know that this is ready. Right? So, your hands-on experience is something which is required there, and that's why skill-based education moves away from the traditional way of education. Correct? Hence, statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 talks about the non-conventional higher education based on teaching learning activities that are offered on campus. Now, if you would have read the statement correctly, you would have seen that if we talk about the name itself says non-conventional, that how can it be offered on campus? So, this is something which makes the statement false by itself, because we have two types of education, non-conventional and conventional. So, as the name suggests, the conventional education is something which is traditional, right, which have been there since eras, right? For instance, there are teacher coming in the class delivering a lecture, correct? So, conventional example would be lectures, correct? That a teacher simply comes, delivers the lecture and goes. If we talk about the non-conventional methods, these are the ones which are related to the technology, which are moving away from the traditional sphere, hence the online methods as well, correct? Also, example could be right now as I'm teaching you through the YouTube platform, correct? So YouTube could be seen here as the example of something which is what? Which is a non-conventional teaching method, correct? Let's just read the statement here. Refers to forms of education that deviate from the traditional model of teaching or attending classes on a physical campus. So they are saying on campus with fixed time classes, no. In non-conventional type of education, you can also choose to, have the classes on your pace. That is self-paced learning is also which is acquired or required by the students self. Examples include online education, correspondence courses, that is distance education, and self-paced learning programs. These forms of education often offer greater flexibility because the student here is in charge that how, at what pace is he going to learn certain things, correct? In terms of scheduling and location, you can choose the time when you want to study. You can sit anywhere and study and may not require students to attend classes on campus. Hence, statement 2 is incorrect. Now, I hope the two statements were, making sense to you, that why statement 2 was incorrect and why statement 1 was correct on the first place. Then we have this very question. Ankur receives an email informing him that his credit card is going to be cancelled. The email advises him to click on the provided link and sign into his online banking account to prevent what? For his email, for his credit card being cancelled from happening, which he does. A week later, Ankur notices that 10,000 rupees have been withdrawn from his bank account. What has Ankur fallen a victim of or a victim to? The answer to this question is option A, that is a phishing scam. So, in internet term, first of all, for the ICT people who set the ICT examination, phishing has been asked multiple times, right? So, let's just see. Phishing is a trick used by the scammers to know one's personal information, and usually it comes under the disguise of being in an email, and because we trust email as a source, so we think yes, if we got a message through an email, then it's going to be authentic, but that's not the case every time, correct? They usually use email or text messages to divert the person and have his or her personal details, correct? It could be a dangerous threat to online data because obviously as Ankur has lost 10,000 rupees, any other form of data could be, deducted, can be received from the user's end without the user being the one who knows that this was authentic or it was not authentic. It is an initial practice and comes under cybercrime, right? So this is also something which is related to cybercrime because that is a scam which is being done. The scammers use phishing viruses to access the data from the user's device or computer. The incident given, as we talked about, that Ankur lost 10,000 rupees because he received a link in his email and he thought that email is correct, right? The link is telling him to not cancel his credit card, right? That's why we see that this scam is a phishing scam, correct? So, a very important concept if we talk about, a very important kind of scam if we talk about the ones who are the paper setters of the, examination that has been happening. The next thing, two main components of CPU are central processing unit, right? We know the full form of CPU from the time being, right? Then the answer to this question is option A, that is control unit and ALU. First of all, we should know that CPU has not only two but three main components which are there, correct? One is the control unit, the other is the arithmetic and logic unit, and the third one is the main memory which is there, the primary or the main memory. First of all, we'll be talking about the control unit. One of the most important parts of the microprocessor, as it is in charge of the entire process because it, as the name suggests, it controls the programs which are being run on the computer, on the desktop, on the device. The control unit extracts instructions from memory and decodes them. So basically it is trying to control the instructions which are being given and working according to those very instructions. If I asked it to write, or if I asked me it to redirect me to google.com. Correct? Based on these instructions, it creates control signals that tell the ALU and the registers how to operate, what to operate on, and what to do with the result. So control unit works along with the ALU when it comes to doing the mathematical and logical functions. Moving to ALU, what do we have here? So first of all, there's some explanation left for the CLU part, the CU part. That is, control unit is the one which manages, hence it has the role of a manager, because under it the ALU and the main memory will work. Correct? In other words, it controls and coordinates all the hardware operations. If we are using a mouse, if we are using a printer, how is that command going to be utilized by the computer? That thing is done through the control unit, because it is controlling the entire operations and the instructions which are run in a computer. Then we have arithmetic and logic unit. My dear students, it is not logical, mind you, and don't choose logical if it comes in the question paper. The answer is arithmetic and logic unit, correct? Where the actual data processing takes place. If we talk about anything, any data which is in the form of binary or mathematical functions. Correct? So these two types of data, how are they dealt with? They are dealt with using the ALU. All calculations, comparisons take place in this section. Correct? So calculations, it means mathematics, comparisons between two things, if they are there, right? So comparisons are done there. In addition to arithmetic functions, that is calculating plus, minus, add, subtract, etc., the ALU also handles the logic operations which is related to the binary operations. All mathematical operations are performed in binary numbers, correct? And the logic operations are performed using binary operations which are there. So basically, all the mathematical and logical functions are the ones which are dealt with what unit? ALU. Then we have the primary memory or the main memory. It stores programs during their execution, stores data that is being used by the current program. So basically, if you save any file on MS Word, if you are doing anything on MS Word, right, the main memory is going to save it on itself, right? So we have two types, that is RAM, right, which is volatile, which is a temporary memory, and ROM, which is non-volatile, which means the instructions which are there, which are already given on ROM, cannot be deleted, hence they are permanent in nature. So under main memory, we have two memories, two types of memories: RAM, which can delete data when the power is not there, right, and ROM, which will have data for the entire life till you have your computer, because the code cannot be erased, deleted or modified. Correct? Then we have the next question here, which says, which of the following hardware were used by the first generation computers? So this is a really important thing for you all as your homework, that try to note down the 4 or 5 generations of computers that we have and try to see what did they use. Did they use transistors in the first generation, and in second generations what did they use, right? All of them, and the languages that they used. The answer coming to this one is option B, which is vacuum tubes. If we talk about the first generation computers, they were very big computers that took large, room space basically. Correct? And they had certain things which were known as vacuum tubes, which were the ones which can be broken easily. Correct? Vacuum tubes for circuitry and magnetic drums for memory, to store the memory. These computers were very expensive, right? First of all, because of the fact that they are first generation computers, it means that the advent of computers is being done from that very time. That's why they were very expensive. Large in size, as I told you, took the space of an entire room, slow in processing though, and had less storage capacity. Used machine level language for programming. Right? So basically, what did we have here? What do we have as the machine level language? 0, 1, which is the also known as the binary language. Correct? So the computer understands binary language only, and a person who used to operate this very computer, you had to, learn or had to master the machine level language. Only then a person would be able to operate such a computer. That is the first generation computer which was there, which used what? The vacuum tubes. Next question that we have here is, which one of the following is a type of malware embedded in a program on a computer that will set off a malicious function when certain conditions are met? 2021 question, correct? The answer to this question is option T, that is logic bomb. First of all, try to read it from here only. Set off a malicious program, that is a malicious function, is set off, right, by when certain conditions are met. Right, so basically what is a logic bomb? If you would have seen in movies as well, the bomb takes certain times, right? At a certain time a timer is there. Same is the case with this kind of virus. It is not the bomb that we see in the images or the movies that we have, but it is a kind of a malicious software, right? That is it is a kind of a virus which is there, correct? A piece of code, that's why we talk about it, is a virus in the computer terms, intentionally inserted into a software system that will set off a malicious function when specified conditions are met. So for instance, if you have, a logic bomb in your computer and you try to calculate something, that is 2 plus 2, right? Certain kind of application is using this very thing, a certain kind of calculation is being done. So the logic bomb said that if a person opens the calculator and calculates any number of digit, right, which is there, this will be released, and from that onward, that time onwards, this bomb, yeah, right, this kind of virus is the one which infects your computer system. Software that is inherently malicious, such as viruses and worms, often contains logic bombs. So yesterday in some other video, we have talked about that how we have logic bombs, how we have worms, right? So in the previous videos, we have talked about the worms which were there, correct? To execute a certain payload at a predefined time. So worm was something which keeps on multiplying from the infected computers to the computers which are not infected, and it multiplies and keeps on reaching to the devices which are connected through LAN. Coming to logic bombs are the same, they are the subtype of what we know as worms and viruses. To be considered a logic bomb, the payload should be unwanted and unknown to the user. So a user should not know for the fact that obviously this program is intentionally inserted and the user is unaware basically. Because it has been seen that this is a software which, the user does not know that it is not authentic. So it shows off as authentic and the user installs that very software or, does or performs certain kind of function on his or her computer, and then this logic bomb is released which sets off a malicious code. Worm, a type of malware that spreads copies from computer to computer, can replicate itself, right, without any coding or interaction, and it does not need to attach itself to a software program. So through the networks, first of all, worms are spread through networks, correct? Then we have the Trojan horse, a type of malware that downloads onto a computer disguised as a legitimate program. So you see the differences between the four of them, dear students. This should be something which you all should be noting down. So Trojan horse is a kind of virus which makes us see that it is a legitimate program, the user downloads it, right? And the attacker then uses social engineering to hide malicious code within the legitimate software. And when it is there, the hacker can access the personal information of the person who owns the computer system. Then we have spyware. As the name suggests, it is spyware, correct? It spies on your computer system, right? Collects personal information and gathers data about a person without consent. So the person does not know that he or she is being tracked and their personal information is being retrieved from the computer without their knowledge. That is known as spyware, right? So this is what we had for this very question. The next question that we have here is statement 1. It enables data package which is related to the router. So try to read the question carefully, that what is the statement about. So the router enables data packets to be routed between different networks. And statement 2 says it works in the data link layer. The answer to this question is option C, which says that statement 1 is true and statement 2 is false. Yes, the work, how a router works is obviously that it sends data packets. What do we mean by data packets if we talk about in computer terminology? Packets are small pieces of information. So, small chunks of information. That is known as data packet. So basically whatever data, the information that we are transferring from one network to the other, who routes that, who tells it the way that which computer is it going to reach? The router tells it, right? If we have multiple computers, for instance, if I have computer 1, computer 2 and computer 3 and they are attached with a router, correct? The router will tell that from computer 1, the data is supposed to be transferred to computer 3 and not 2. So, it will route, it will make a way for the computer 1 to send data to computer 3. It is a physical or a virtual networking device that is designed to receive, analyze and forward data packets between computer networks, as I told you, and those networks could be LANs, MANs, etc. It examines the destination, that is IP address of a given data packet, and it uses the headers and forwarding tables to decide the best way to transfer the packet. So basically, as I told you, from computer 1 it is supposed to reach to computer 3. It won't let it go to computer 2 because of the fact the IP address is being obtained by the router and it knows that to what computer is it supposed to reach. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 says it works in the data link layer. No, it's incorrect. It works in the third layer, which is the network layer. Obviously, if you are talking about router and if it routes packages to the network, between the networks, then it obviously is supposed to be in the network layer, correct? And it is based on the IP address of a computer. Hence, the second statement is incorrect for us. The next question that we have here is, which of the following statements about desktop and laptop computers are true? So read the question, pause your screens and try to answer what would be the true statements about the laptops and the desktop computers. The answer to this question is option A, that is A, B and D only and not C. Why? Because the desktop computers do not have built-in touchpads basically. So we are supposed to look at what do we have as the true statements. Let's see here. The desktop computer is a personal computer designed for regular use. So before the advent of laptops especially, people used to use desktop computers even in schools as well, right? So use at a single location with a connected power source. So if you see that a desktop is there, monitor is there, keyboard is there, right, of different things and a mouse is there, correct? Anything and everything which is there and they are sitting at a singular place which is there. Some advantages of desktop computer and disadvantages are given below. Because of the huge keyboard, typing is simple. So they have a huge keyboard when it comes to being compared with a laptop. Because the computer has a large amount of disk space, it can store a lot of data, which is again an advantage. This is also an advantage. Desktop PCs are quite dependable. It is simple to start an internet business and rely on technology. So basically, they are dependable on the technology as well to work on. And because it takes up so much space, as I told you that you need an entire desktop, right, to be there, correct? And how that thing will be placed there, it will be taking a lot of space. So moving a desktop computer from one location to the other is challenging. Hence, we have this thing which was there. They are not very portable, that you cannot move them from one thing to one place to the other easily. Laptops are portable, right? Laptop computer or notebook computer is a tiny portable computer featuring a screen and an alphanumeric keypad. So it has a built-in keypad which is there. Advantages and disadvantages of a laptop. Laptop comprises a display keyboard, touchpad, which substitutes a mouse. So basically, if we use the touchpad, we can move the cursor, right? So we do not need a mouse which is there, and speakers are built in there. So if we see here in the questions, right? So even it has built-in webcams. Correct? And laptop computers are rarely supplied with a mouse because of the fact that a touchpad is something which is supplementing for the mouse. Laptop computers are rarely supplied with a mouse, as I told you, because they already have a touchpad which can be used for the purpose of a mouse. Due to their small size, they are particularly portable. They can be moved from one place to the other, and most modern laptop computers have built-in webcams. So this statement is again true. In comparison to like regular computers, laptops are more easily damaged because they can be, they can fall, right? And they can get, they have certain kind of RAM, which then has lesser space if compared to, a desktop computer. Therefore, A, B, D are the correct options, and yes, this statement is incorrect because the desktop computers do not have the built-in touchpad, but the laptops do. Correct? Then we have the last question for today. What is parity checking? So pause your screens. The answer to this question is option B, which says parity checking is a method to check whether data has been changed or is corrupted. Basically, it wants to see if there are any data errors which are there. So let's just read here. It is the process that ensures that accurate data transmission between nodes during communication is there. So the data, if you are sending from one place to the other, right, from one computer to the other, if it is not having any kind of errors, this is known as parity checking. Parity bit or check bit is a bit added to a string of binary code. So basically, if we have a binary code of 101, there will be something as from 1 or 0 that will be added to see if there are any errors. They are simple forms of error detecting code. So basically, this is a simpler thing which has not been yet asked, right? Only for once it has been asked in the 2021 examination. Right? So too difficult a thing, but yes, we just need to memorize the definition of what is parity checking basically. We need not do the calculations which are being done here. So it is the simplest technique for detecting and correcting errors if the data is being transmitted from one node to the other. So basically, correction of data and detection of any kind of error which is there, that is being done with what? With parity checking. So students, this is all what we had in today's video. We will be moving forward with certain more concepts and even with the conversions that we have for the ICT part. So I will be telling you, I will be bringing forward for you all the questions which are related to binary to decimal, decimal to binary, and so on and so forth. Till then, keep on sticking with us, keep on studying. I will see you again. Thank you so much.